Have you ever grabbed Miss Rial's hair and pulled it back and whispered into her ears before?
Whispered what?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
I'm not asking for what you whispered. I'm asking.
Well, you asked if I did. I don't recall whispering anything.
Do you ever recall grabbing her by the back of the hair and pulling her hair?
I recall doing that not in a violent or hurtful way, but in a playful way. Miss Rial used to be a hairdresser. She's always kind of changing her hairstyles over the years and coloring cool colors, and I always used to comment on how much I loved her hair or her new hairstyle. It's really disingenuous to use the term pulling hair, too, because it just has a connotation of being somehow violent, and it was never that.
But you did put your hands on her and pull her hair.
Yes, sir.
And you've done that more than once?
I did not pull her hair. And again, we were friends. It was all in casual interaction. And I was never, if she had have ever told me, please don't do that again, I wouldn't have ever done it again.
And is that something you've done with other women in the past, where you pull their hair just playfully as part of just who you are?
Objection form.
I would definitely say it has probably happened before in playful interaction with people, but not very often.
What is it that Jamie Markey has done to defame you?
Wow. Apart from mischaracterizing a very casual, brief interaction in public and the lobby at Funimation, she publicly posted that and then went on to say that she wanted my head on a stake and wanted my balls in a sling, and has posted many extremely vitriolic comments.
And how is that defamatory?
Because she's a voice actress in my industry, and people will tend to give her more credence because they think, oh, well, she knows him. She must, her words must carry more weight than some fan, some miscellaneous fan out there.
So, what was it exactly that she mischaracterized? Or took out of context?
She mischaracterized. My memory of the event with Jamie was that I had come in to record one day at Funimation, and I was in the lobby, and she was there, and she had just changed her hair somehow. She was wearing it differently, or she had cut it somehow, probably as far away as I am from Casey, and she said, "Hey, hon." And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. And she's like, I know, I just got it. And I walked around the counter, and I was kind of standing there, kind of flipping it, and like, oh my gosh, it's really beautiful. I love it. And I put my hand up in the bottom of it, and I'm like, oh, this is great. It was not painful. It was not hurtful. It was not sexual. And it happened at least 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer. And if I may say, I saw Jamie in the lobby at Funimation in January of this year, literally a week to 10 days before this social media thing started. And she's like, hey, hon, and went over and hugged her and said hello. She and I have had, as far as I've known, a very casual, friendly relationship for many years. And I was astounded by her account online.
And the account online is that you pulled her hair?
And that I pulled her hair, and that I whispered something sexual in her ear, which absolutely is not true. I have not ever had any sexual interest in Jamie.
But Ms. Markey certainly wouldn't be the first woman whose hair you've pulled.
No, we've established that. but I would take issue with the word pulling hair.
Right.
That sounds like something you do in a fight with somebody, and that is not the intent, ever. Nor do I believe they took it that way at the time.
Would you agree with the statement that the way one person perceives a situation is not always going to be the same way everybody perceives that same situation?
Of course.
So is it possible that Miss Markey perceived pain when you pulled her hair in the lobby that day, and that you were unaware of that? And the reason I ask is you testified earlier.
I had no indication when it happened or in the years that followed that we've been friends and interacted that there was anything offensive or painful about it. In my mind, my recollection, it was very casual, playful interaction, as happens all the time in the hallways of Funimation.
But you would agree that she certainly could have perceived it differently than you.
Sure.
Is it your testimony today that you did not say something sexual into Miss Markey's ear at that moment that you were grabbing her hair?
Sorry.
You're good.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Okay. Do you recall if you said anything into her ear?
I don't recall that I said anything. If I did, it was literally something about, "Oh, I love your hair," or "Love it. It's awesome." You know, it was that kind of thing.
Okay.
What they're honing in on is somehow slam dunk victories for all of the defendants. They're not. They're not slam dunk victories at all. That admission is weak sauce at best. It's him admitting to touching her hair, demonstrating at arm's length that there's nothing about grabbing and pulling her in. There's no sexual whisper in the ear. There's none of that occurs, right? It's him reaching out and touching her hair. And I know I'm going to get categorized as spinning it, but what I'm telling you is Vic's version of the story that he just told. So if that's a spin, then that's a spin. If that's a spin, then you've got a pre-existing bias that Vic is guilty and you're a piece of shit anyway. Let's not mince words here. That's not an admission to grabbing someone's hair, pulling them in close, whispering something sexual into their ear, and then being shoved off with some sort of invective commentary. We know it's pretty obvious none of that ever actually happened to anybody, because none of these people have treated Vic like he's done some sort of assaultive behavior to him. None of them have taken that upon themselves. Despite Monica, again, well, it happened the one time and I chose to forgive him. Well, what about all the hair times that you say are literally constant? Aren't those more than the one time? Isn't this a pattern of behavior that you're describing? But it didn't matter to you until now. Why? Why didn't it matter until now? That's the question.